Hello, everybody. I'm Meso,
And I'm LJ.
and streaming to you from a golden beach, this is Mac and Jay. Hello, Voya Nui!
No.
We are back once again and again. I am joined by LJ. Hello, LJ.
Hi, Meso. I'm LJ.
And what better way to return to Mac and Jay than for crazy news and developments? That's how it seems to go.
Yeah, no kidding. Real
But-
quick before I forget. So, I was at work the other day, and for anyone that knows me, I have this tendency of whenever anyone says I'm something, I'll respond, I'm LJ. Or, hi, something, I'm LJ. Like, I'm tired. Hi, tired, I'm LJ. I did that reflexively at work the other day.
How'd that go?
Like, they looked at me like I'd lost my mind. It's like, huh?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But yeah, so
Hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're all having a good evening. If you have a chance after this, or unless you've done so already, check out our interview with Creative Capers. Just went up today. People who made the BIONICLE film trilogy, specifically the director, both directors, and the producer, were all interviewed, and they were absolutely phenomenal people. It was such a great time. I don't say this lightly. It's my favorite interview we've done, especially with Bionicle people. Like, it was even less of an interview, and it was more just like, hey, let's just ask them a question, and then they talk for like 20 minutes,
Yeah.
and they answer everything we're about to ask because they just have so many stories to share and so many points of view to get into. It was great.
no, it was absolutely phenomenal. I've done quite a lot of interviews now, especially with the LJ Johnson show, which again I want to bring back. I've been a little busy, and theirs was absolutely phenomenal. Wonderful, wonderful people. So much fun to talk to.
With that being said, Elge, hit us with the plugs.
All right. So if you're interested in joining in the conversation further, head on over to the TTV message boards at board.ttvchannel.com. You need to be 13 years or older and read our rules, and you'll have a good time. Then head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/the TTV channel, where you can donate as low as $1 a month to join our Patreon Discord server, as well as their Minecraft server on the islands of Motunui and Voyanui, with more to come eventually. And finally, head on over to our Twitter at the TTV channel, at Mesonak, and at the LJ Johnson, JOHNSEN. And that does it.
Perfect. So, here's the deal, guys. So last time we did Mac and Jay, we had a topic we were going to do next time, and we still will. But once again, something crazy's happened that we weren't really expecting. And we're a little bit late on discussing this because, while the duration of this first instance was happening, LJ made a really good news video that kind of filled the intended purpose basically by itself, and the results have kind of spoken to. I guess we really didn't need to make too big of a fiasco out of it. So LJ and I were tossing around, when should we discuss this? When should we make a video talking about this? I mean, we're kind of like, let's just wait until the first phase is over because it seems things are going well, and then we'll do it when the second phase is out or kind of in between. So without further ado, we're of course talking about the ideas poll.
So if you're
kind of figured, go ahead.
If you're watching this, you probably already know what it is. But for anyone that doesn't know what it is, Messa, do you want to explain?
You can explain.
Okay. So LEGO Ideas is holding a poll, kind of like a contest, where they've listed 30 classic LEGO themes in celebration of the 90th anniversary of the LEGO Group in a year, in 2022. So the goal here is you need to vote for your favorites in this first poll, and the top 3 will be moved on to a second poll, and one of those top 3 will then become an official LEGO set in 2022. So
Pretty much.
Bionicle is one of the 30. And
Somehow.
yeah, somehow. And that's why we're here.
I think the main thing that really shocked me about all of this is that Bionicle was even included. Like when you first made the news video, we didn't know which ones are actually going to be included. We just kind of assumed like or hoped Bionicle would be there. I'm just shocked they actually put it on.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't have to do that. Just swapped it out with literally anything else. But no, Bionicle is there. And what has happened, predictably, is people have flocked to the polls to vote for Bionicle. Bionicle ended up winning the first poll by a very large margin. I think it won by like 5,000 votes
I
when
don't
all was said
recall.
and done. I think the Brick Fan published an article about this. Let me see if I can pull up some exact numbers just for the purpose of this discussion. I know I'm not crazy
Wow.
about this anyway. I know I saw something. People help me out if there's a site that isn't the Brick Fan that published the exact poll results. Help me out because the one I recall reading said 18,000.
I
But I'm not
never
seeing
saw
that
the
on Brick
final
Fan.
results, unfortunately. I only saw the kind of the previous one.
Yeah,
Brick Fanatics, was that it? Did they have it?
maybe.
Okay, well,
Okay, I think I found it. Stone Wars. Yeah. Sakota Post Stone Wars had the numbers, but they should be outdated now. Um, it looks like they did update it on the 26th after the poll was closed. So they issue an update, and I'll link it in the description below, and also the hidden chat here for people to see. It says yesterday the Lego Ideas team closed the first round voting, and we have the final results for you. One day before, an interim result had already been sent out via email, summarizing the top 10 choices at that time and inviting the users to participate in the poll if they had not done so yet. The intermediate result coincided almost perfectly with the one we had calculated 3 days earlier. See original post below. Only Model Team had meanwhile pushed the Town series out of 10th place on the list. The Lego Ideas team has not yet published an official overall result of the poll, but we've run our own analysis again and come up with the following final result of the first round of voting. And I'm only going to read the top 10. Bionicle is number one with 18,743 votes. The share of total votes being 12.3%, and the share of total users being 32%. And then for the rest of them, I'll just read the votes. Classic Space, 13,558. Pirates at number 3 with 11,461. Trains, number 4 with 11,118. Adventurers at number 5 with 11,031. Classic Castle at number 6 with 9,289. Forest Men at number 7 with 6,193. Imperials at number 8 with 5,418. Lion Knights at number 9 with 5,254. And Model Team at number 10 with 4,944.
I'm sorry, that's the funniest of these to me. Model Team.
Model
Hey
Team.
guys, look, it's
Yep.
more city.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I don't get it. People are weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just like to point this out to everyone. People want classic Castle back. You know, everyone always is like, you know, Castle is great. Castle is this. Castle is that. We love Castle. Castle, Castle, Castle. Well, Castle was on this poll. A bunch of Castle was on this poll, in fact. A bunch of different Castle themes. But classic Castle, the one everybody really wants back always, lost to Bionicle by half. I just want to point that out. Now, here's the interesting thing that Bionicle fans should be aware of. Cumulatively, if you go through this poll, which Stone Wars has right here, and you tally up every instance of Castle, and you combine them all together, cumulatively, Castle did beat Bionicle. that isn't 100% accurate because, of course, the same person could have voted 3 times for different castle sub themes.
Yeah.
We have no way of knowing that. But if you look at it that way, it's not that that good of news, except for one major interesting point in that Castle didn't make it through to the final
Bad up,
three.
bad up. And it's going, it's gone, it's a home run. Castle is out of the field.
The ones that Bionicle is going to have to brutally pile drive into the dirt are Classic Space and Pirates. So what I find interesting about this, and I can't predict the LEGO community or what they'll do, but I wonder how many fans of Classic Castle are going to end up splitting the vote. It's just an interesting thought to me. Because when they go to cast their vote, they're going to have to choose between Space or Pirates, and both are beloved. People love those themes. But Bionicle fans, we don't have to worry about that.
Nope. No, we do not. No, we do not. So, this has all been very interesting for a variety of reasons. Obviously enough, it's exciting because it grants the potential for another Bionicle set. Bionicle to return to store shelves for the first time since 2016. Oh my gosh, it's 5 years. It has been 5 years.
Yep.
Wow, that went by fast.
We're at the 5-year threshold.
we are. This is the same amount of time between the end of G1 and the beginning of G2.
Yep.
Wow. Anyway, so it's been interesting to see how people have responded to this. We've seen a lot of Bionicle fans very hopeful, very eager to hopefully get a new product, to get Bionicle back on store shelves, which is great, of course. Excuse me. Unfortunately, there have been some less savory aspects, to all of this.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it has gotten people quite spun up. I keep on hearing about Bionicle fans being toxic, or being disruptive, or being jerks to other people. Full disclosure, I have not yet seen it. I just haven't. I'm sure some people are out there. But what I have seen is the collective AFOL community, who really loves their classic LEGO themes, being very bitter about the whole thing.
Dude, I could, it's so bad. I don't typically like people, to be unhappy or whatnot. I generally enjoy people being happy no matter what. But I fully admit I could live off the tears and the AFOLs in this instance for years.
Hey, Jeff from the Beyond the Brick Quarantine cast. Hey, Joshua Hanlon. What now? What now? Who's the king now, baby?
It's all well and good, I understand.
No, I'm starting a drama with them.
No, there must be no drama.
Nope,
we must
it has to happen. I have listen, the gloves are off now. Bring it, baby. Bring that classic space. Bring classic pirates. You know what? This isn't the first time Bionicle has fought pirates. There's a video of Tahu Uniter from 2016 going up against a pirate crew. Guess what?
I remember
Guess what? That ship got sunk. And classic space? You guys have your classic space. You guys have modern space. We don't have classic or modern either, Bionicle. It's our time to shine, baby. We gotta show LEGO that we're gonna be on store shelves, and then as soon as we're on them, boom, we're off of them because people are buying them so fast.
See, LJ, this is why we need you. You're the hype man. We need your special brand of LJ hype.
So, Brother from Another Brick says, LOL, they are brutal. Look at my Bionicle video. It makes the Bionicle community look horrible. I'm literally just laughing at it all go down. Don't get me wrong. I'm not such much of the Bionicle community. But I am such much for Bionicle. So,
yeah.
And you know what? The Bionicle community has been a black sheep for its entire existence. I'm not terribly upset that the greater system community is finding themselves not getting their way this time.
Well, look, here's the thing, right? As somewhat of an expert on the Bionicle community, I can tell you straight up, it's very problematic.
Oh, yeah.
I hesitate to say toxic, I think there are very toxic
We've
elements.
we've done an entire video on this, and a
Yeah,
Knack
it's
and
like
Jay.
3 hours long.
Yeah.
But what I found is it's very constrained to ourselves. Like, you know what I mean? It's a kind of self-destructive toxicity where the community will rip itself apart
Hmm.
in all of its different subcategories. Not really so much Bionicle being like this horrible presence to the rest of the Lego community. Not that I've seen anyway. Meanwhile, the derision from the rest of the Lego community towards the very conceit that Bionicle is a thing that exists has been very palpable over
Oh
the
yeah.
years
Oh
to
yeah.
extreme degrees, ranging from everything towards, just overall feedback on message boards to how it's treated at conventions to how like Bionicle is framed to in a way to belittle its accomplishments and whatnot to insulting people for not being like real Lego fans. Like every single cliche you could walk through has been displayed towards the Bionicle community. So now in an instance where they're literally forced to confront the numbers and confront the fact that the community is pretty large still outside of their bubble, yeah, I find it funny.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, in a perfect world, Lego would just straight up make all three. I don't really see why Bionicle should take a set away from classic space if people obviously want it. You know, Lego should just make all three. But if it's gonna come down to one, I think it's our time in the sun.
Yeah. But yeah. No, I think that I think this is fine. This is just the way it is. You know, if the best way to have cordial conversation and discussion is to be cordial and have that conversation discussion. Make no mistake, I'm sure there are Bionicle fans out there being awful. Call them out by all means. But I mean, listen, if you want to paint with broad strokes and make claims that all Bionicle fans, the entire Bionicle community is this way, okay, you know what? That's a game that can be played. It's not a fun game to play. It really doesn't go anywhere productive.
Nope.
So let's talk about the merits of these themes. Let's talk about which themes should have a 90th anniversary set. At which point,
boy.
you know what?
The LJ thesis.
Yeah, it is the LJ thesis. Let's go ahead and talk about why Bionicle is the most deserving theme on this list to be given a set.
All right, I'm ready.
No other theme makes more sense than Bionicle to be given a 90th anniversary set than Bionicle. Because at the end of the day, no other theme has been as influential in the success and the evolution of LEGO as Bionicle has of these themes. Make no mistake, there are more popular themes. There are larger themes, but they're not on this list. Like, I'm thinking Ninjago. Look at everything you have here. In order to come up with 30, there are like 5 different castle themes. There are 3 different space themes. There are like 2 to 3 pirate themes. These are brands, these are themes that have lasted for a while. They've been redone time and time again. You know, they keep on coming back because, I mean, they just make sense. You know, they are themes in the sense that it's pirates, it's space, castles, you know?
Yeah.
But they're easy to bring back in different ways, in different shapes and forms. Extreme Team, you can see bits and pieces of that in Modern City. You know, when they do like those jungle explorations or so on and so forth, stuff like that. Divers, also in Lego City. They're going into the ocean. We are getting new water molds. Time Cruisers is an outlier. I don't know how to address Time Cruisers. Or
Time
really
Cruisers
Rock
is
Raiders,
weird.
which I was surprised to see as low as it was. Like, it was only 15.
Yeah.
It was halfway through the list.
I would have expected more for Rock Raiders, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have all of these different themes. They're just general themes, and then you have Bionicle. And Bionicle, there was something about it. There was something about it that let it work, that let it massively succeed. There is a book that we like to evangelicalize called Brick by Brick: How Lego Rewrote the Rules of Innovation and Conquered the Global Toy Industry. A really fantastic book. I highly recommend reading the entire thing. It has an entire chapter dedicated to Bionicle, and it really goes into the behind the scenes. And it's really something else to see exactly how impactful this theme was. Not only was it, I mean, most of the time we cite Bionicle in the greater Lego scheme as having saved the company from financial ruin. The company was mere months away from being bought by another company. Lego has never been anything but family owned. There are no public shares, no public stocks. But it was about to be sold off. That's how bad things got. So yes, Bionicle and Star Wars. Star Wars had a hand in things. The two of them kept Lego working. They kept Lego operational and allowed Lego to actually fix the things that were broken so that they could continue. But it did more than that. It allowed Lego to start exploring different ways to merchandise. It allowed them to discover new ways to work with other partners, on making merchandise, on promoting it, all of these different things. It also fundamentally changed the way Lego set production occurs, bringing it from a 3-year production cycle for sets down to 6 months. That's insane. It fundamentally altered the way the Lego company works. And it kept it on its feet. It kept its head above water. Bionicle.
Just today, we released an interview with Creative Capers, the people who, directed the Bionicle film trilogy. And then we even touch on this during the interview, but do you think we would have ever gotten the Lego movies if it wasn't for the Bionicle movies?
Yeah, right?
Being the first thing that was done. Do you think we would have gotten the Ninjago TV show if it wasn't for the Bionicle movies being the first thing that is done? Lego, with the exception of Galador, Lego had not done visual storytelling of that sort before. Not in high form media, like that. That was not a thing. Bionicle was the one that really did that first, worked out the kinks. Were they perfect? No, but you have to start somewhere. And that's just a fact. People get sick of Bionicle fans saying this refrain. I'm like, well, it's the truth.
Yeah.
Just because you don't like it doesn't make it not true. And it also doesn't mean that Bionicle fans say all that to say that Bionicle is the only Lego theme worthy of respect. Of course not.
Yeah, no,
but
no, no.
It does deserve respect of its own accord.
Yeah.
That's all. That's it.
Yeah. It's just, there is no other theme on this list that has had such an impact. That is not to say the others have not had impact. They're all here for valid reasons, and they're all valid entries. What I'm saying isn't meant to make anyone feel bad about what they voted for or what themes they like. That's not the intention. My point being, Lego's having a 90th anniversary because of Bionicle.
Yep.
Full stop. That's it. That is all. 100th anniversary? Don't even worry about it. So let it celebrate 90 now, so you don't worry about 100 later. Because in the grander scheme of things, it's not the greatest theme in the company's history. There are, again, more popular themes. There are larger themes. Ninjago has outstripped it in nearly every way.
The 100th anniversary should definitely reflect more of
The brick.
I hesitate to say the phrase something regular, but it should be the brick, know?
It should.
I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that makes perfect sense because at the end of the day, yes, Lego is traditionally the brick. But the brick did not keep the company afloat.
Nope. And what frustrates me most about the about all the system fanatic AFOL out there is like, yes, it is the brick. Is that all that Lego is? Would you say that Technic isn't real Lego? It's like Bionicle started out as a Technic sub-theme.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the line you draw? That's what's always frustrated me most about it. By saying it's only one thing, you prohibit it growing and being other things at once. The two are not mutually exclusive. There's enough room, there's enough room in this town for the both of us. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to me, it is so quintessentially a Lego story. It's a story of something that had everything stacked against it, rising above that adversity, rising above those challenges, and blowing expectations out of the water. And, for 90 years, something that is happening 20 years after it started, you know what? I think we can get this one. I think we can at least have this. But again, I want to stress 100 years, no. And the only reason I'm saying 100 years, no, is not because I don't think Bionicle is deserving, but because I do not think that it's representative of a century of Lego. Something more needs to happen, and I'm not sure you can summarize an entire century with a single set. But for 90 years, the prior 20 of which may not have even happened, yeah, I think I'm okay with this.
This is the point in time where this needs to happen. This is the point in time where it should happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, trust me, I can understand, if from the perspective of being a fan of one of those other Lego themes, I get it, partially. I get why you would be annoyed at like, all the Bionicle fans, rushing to the poll or whatever. But only partially, and only with that degree, because then you take it a step further and you're like, well, Bionicle doesn't deserve it, and that's where we part ways. But from just a perspective of, well, if you don't like Bionicle, are you going to be happy that it's winning? No, and I get that, and you're of course allowed to have that view. Everyone is, but you got to put it into context as well. Like the Bionicle community, for a long time, whether right or wrong, doesn't. They haven't exactly felt the love from Lego, not for a while. So you have to understand why, when given the opportunity for this thing to be done, people are going to jump on it. People are going to take this opportunity. They're not going to let it pass us by. Of course not. What are we gonna say? Oh yeah, it's fine. We'll have the next one. Pirates can take this one. It's cool, guys. You guys are the real Lego. We're just glad to eat at your dinner table.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
Like, no, we're not gonna do that.
No.
We're fans of what we enjoy, and well, if Bionicle's winning, that might mean there's a lot of us still out there.
Yeah.
What a concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So no, it's just it's a little taxing seeing the disrespect from the AFOL community. But at the same time, it's always been this way. Like, even people from within LEGO didn't like Bionicle because it wasn't the system.
It's the classic phrase, I'm not surprised, I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's basically, that's about it, too. But it's okay. Because Pirates ain't winning.
Hey, you don't know that?
I mean currently.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, not overall. I mean, this poll, it wasn't Pirates. It wasn't Space. It was the good old BIONICLE. But no, it's, there's something else I was going to say. Oh, gosh, I don't remember. Oh, yes. So, in regards to the point that we sound like we deserve it from LEGO. We don't deserve anything. In fact, I will absolutely stake my claim on this. Regardless of the AFOL community, the Bionicle community is the most ungrateful, whining group of people I've ever heard. But,
Bruh!
But That I mean, we don't deserve anything. It's not the Bionicle community that deserves anything, but the theme does. The theme absolutely deserves something, especially since we got so shafted on a 20th anniversary celebration. 2 decades. 2 decades of this theme. We have nothing. Nothing for it. No acknowledgement from the company at all. Not proper official acknowledgement.
Yeah, you've got to understand what that makes people, what that makes people jump to. And like for me, I understand, LJ's right. Bionicle community is quite ungrateful. I'm a bit more, I'm a bit more fair. I understand why people react that way. But it's because of the history of it. It's because it's been marginalized for so long. People want things to change. People want things to happen. The scars from G2 are still very fresh. It's a complicated situation, and I think it is important to recognize it in some capacity. I would have been perfectly content with the Lego Ideas set if Sakota's set had gotten made. I would have been totally fine letting this kind of go by. I wouldn't be insistent on it. The Ideas set did not get made, ergo this has my full and unequivocal support.
Yeah.
Now I do think it's important to stress something, to not rest on our laurels, and we're going to beat this point home numerous times throughout the duration of this, I'm sure. We cannot take this and be like, all right, we've got it in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the votes are going to funnel into other themes now. Just because I say to myself, okay, well, the vote's going to be split between pirates and space. That's true. However, there's also a lot more people who didn't vote for Bionicle who now have to vote for something. And it is quite possible that Bionicle might not win this, because we're never going to know the actual full vote count results unless Lego decides to share them. But they've already said the second round is not going to be transparent.
Yeah.
So what we really have to do is turn out.
Yep.
We really have to turn out the vote for this second go round. Everybody in the Bionicle community, everybody, whether you're lapsed or active, skeptic or hopeful, Lego fan or kind of Lego fan turned Lego hater, we all need to rally up if we like Bionicle and get this done. The exact same kind of turnout that happened with the Lego Ideas set, if not even greater. We need everybody. We know there's people who aren't in the Bionicle community, like the gaming YouTubers who helped out before, to do it again.
Oboe Shoes, yep.
Oboe Shoes, you're up. This is your time.
Spread word. Listen, Oboe, you've got a very different audience than we do in this, or different connections. Get those people in on this.
Yes, it is very important that we turn out, because it could very well be an unfortunate outcome. And even if it is, we did our best.
We did our best, and we should be. What's graceful in our defeat.
We should be gracious.
Yeah.
There's gonna be no sense in like rioting against the fans, because at the end of the day, they're just doing what we are doing.
Yeah.
They're just voting for their theme. But we do want to give it our best so we can have no regrets going forward, and that's what I want to see.
Yeah. So.
Now, Henry Chen in the YouTube chat makes a funny comment that's also a good point. Says, do you think after the Bionicle community gets a big win that we'll just go back to our hole and fade into the background? No. Far from the contrary. Because this whole thing, people have been wanting Bionicle to come back, quote unquote, for years. People have been wanting Bionicle to come back as it was supposed to for like 11 years. People desperately want this. However, you have to think about it logistically. Up until now, Lego has acted with the philosophy that Bionicle doesn't sell. Let's be honest. If they thought Bionicle could sell and turn a profit, it would be on shelves right now. So the reason why it isn't, and the reason why Construction has been purged, is because Lego probably doesn't see the profitability in it. What I think Bionicle fans as a whole see this as is two camps. Number one, they see it as a way to pay homage and pay respect and have kind of one last hurrah and get a good set out there to kind of give people some closure. But then the second half of people, I think, are hoping for this to maybe lead into a path for Bionicle to come back in an official capacity. Like maybe it comes back and it sells well, and then Lego kind of does what they did with Minecraft or whatever, and it's like, oh, let's make a full theme out of this because this one set sold super well. You know, the pipe dream scenario. I think the first scenario about closure, about commemoration, about celebration, I think that's pretty cut and dry. I think that we can all unanimously say that would be neat and just kind of put that away. You know, I think the second prospect is really where the discussion comes in and where things get a lot more complicated. Because already I see theories saying, like from Ozcobot right here, I've seen this idea propagated for a while. It says, is it possible that they may have decided against the Ideas Project because they knew this poll was coming and didn't want to risk two separate Bionicle sets on shelves at once celebrating different anniversaries? I don't think they care about that. Having a Bionicle 20th anniversary set and then a Bionicle 90th anniversary Lego set, I don't think that really factored into their decision-making process at all. The other theory that I say is still unlikely, but kind of follows along the same page as to what you're saying, is a theory that I've seen passed around saying, well, do you think that they canceled the Ideas Project, they didn't let it go through because they already had a Bionicle set in development to celebrate the anniversary, and now they're just using this poll to justify interest and give a reason why they can make a Bionicle set that isn't to celebrate Bionicle's anniversary because they don't want to celebrate Bionicle's anniversary because that will elevate Bionicle to a high point on people's minds and put it on a pedestal. They don't want to do it. They want to downplay it, but also pander to the Bionicle community and give them what they want. No. Just no.
Calm down.
That's
there,
not
LJ.
a thing. That's not a thing. That's not a thing that happened.
Yeah.
I don't think there's some grand conspiracy here.
Yeah.
I think they didn't go through with the Ideas Project for whatever their reasons were. We've speculated before. Either they didn't think Bionicle could be profitable, or they didn't think the set itself would be profitable. We'll never know because they're never going to say.
Mm-hmm.
This is separate. This is a separate thing and should be treated as such.
And at the end of the day, we definitely should not just rest on the Lego Ideas aspect either. Now is just as good of a time to try and push through another Ideas project. We should be sending as many messages to Lego saying, hey, we still want one. We would love to see one somehow. Personally, my current favorite, if I may, Meso.
By all means, I want to start talking about them basically all the time.
Yeah, no, we're really gonna start ramping things up. You know, we don't want to show too much favoritism.
I don't care. I'll show all the favoritism.
Okay. Anyway, so Sakota's awesome. Which is true, he is. So my current favorite, I'll just go ahead. I've already linked it twice. Robot Matanui. I didn't come prepared for this. It is this one right here. There we go. Okay, transition that. So this is an Ideas project. This is the Great Spirit Robot Bionicle 20th Anniversary by Axel Ford over on Lego Ideas. It's got 1,852 supporters. This is my favorite system Matanui robot that I have seen currently. Like, this is the best one in my opinion. I think this would be a great set. I know you might be snickering at that comment, Meso, given our previous conversations, but
I agree.
okay.
It's good.
Yeah, no, I definitely highly endorse this one. Like, highly endorse this one. You make this one with some Tomata minifigures, I am sold. I will buy two. I will buy
Honestly, though,
two. So, but yeah,
I would
no.
like to. I would like to talk about one or two, if you wouldn't mind putting a few pictures up.
If you could send them, that'd be great.
Okay. First set, which is currently my favorite, is this one right here. It's Bionicle Battle for the Mask of Light.
There we go. Transition.
And Elders getting a picture up
Right
for it
there.
right now.
That's
The
it.
thing that I really enjoy about this one is that it adopts a form of Bionicle style figure not entirely dissimilar to the current Marvel mechs that exist. They use a very simple, a very similar rather, build format for at least the Matoran, but they make a few significant changes, noticeably in the hands, torso, and obviously head construction, that are able to create Bionicle style figures with very good levels of articulation without falling into that whole tiny minifigure head in cockpit with long lanky fingers kind of look that makes the Marvel mechs very unpalatable. Like these, particularly the Matoran. The Matoran are my favorites here, full disclosure. But even the Rakshi and the Toa do the job pretty well. The Toa Tahunuva has great articulation, great proportions, great build on the torso, really evokes the Bionicle look. It even has pistons. And then the Rakshi's just straight up cool. Like the Rakshi looks like as a Rakshi should. It has the proportions that a Rakshi should. It utilizes the spindliness of the limb construction to great effect. It has the spiked back. It has the staff. It basically has everything. Now, what I would say is, as far as negatives go, the heads are not to everyone's liking. And I've seen a lot of people remark that if sets like these were to be made, be it for an anniversary set or even just in a hypothetical world where Bionicle came back and these were kind of the figures we got, they would want there to be actual masks instead of brick built masks. And I do agree. I do think that would help a lot to kind of get rid of the uncanny appearance. But let's be honest, Lego might want to make them out of bricks just to keep it consistent. They might not want to go back to single pieces in a Lego system brick build iteration of Bionicle. And for what they are, I'm just mainly impressed that they were able to make three different masks that do look distinctly different, all out of bricks. And I think if they could do those for this, they could do those for any iteration of Bionicle. Now, I agree, just because this is my personal favorite, I think the modern day robot that LJ talked about before, I think that would be a better set if we were to centralize. I just think that's more representative.
Mm-hmm.
But I like what these are doing, and I like the direction they're going. I think there's a discussion we might have. I think we're going to have it in a future Knack and Jay about how these kind of techniques could be evolved to kind of transition Bionicle into the modern era. I
Yep.
think all the ingredients are here. And there's one more I want to mention while we're on this train of thought. I've just linked it for you, Elge. This one I was sent a few days ago by a community member named Ikad. So shout out to you for bringing it to my attention. Um, this is called Toata Who Awakens by Watapan, and it's along a very similar line. It's just a mixel jointed rendition of Tahumata with a canister. That's basically it. But there's a few really cool elements to this, namely the fact that the canister works and he demonstrates how you can put all the pieces into the canister. And number two, it's literally a recreation of Tahumata, sockets and all, you know, except with more articulation. So, yes, this is actually a superior iteration of Tahumata, at least from the constraints of posability. He has, ratcheted knees, he has ankle joints, he's got hip joints, he has waist articulation, head articulation, shoulders and elbows and hands and fingers, and a canister. And it looks like Tahu with a pretty good mask design. I think it's actually better than the Battle for the Mask of Light. And he also includes pictures showing how you can transition it to Tahu Nuva with just a few added pieces. So the Nuva armor is very easily swappable. And I just think this is really cool.
Yeah.
I love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I definitely think that we should be funneling support to these. Let's let Lego know these are what we would like to see. We would like to see a Bionicle set. We would really like any of these. So keep Bionicle at the forefront of their minds. If you want one of these, show you're interested.
unfortunately, that responsibility, that what's going to fall to us, I think, to make videos about them.
Yeah.
So I do want to begin. I'm not promising when exactly, but coming sooner rather than later. We're going to have a Lego Ideas roundup. I'm not sure if it's going to be every week, every 2 weeks, but we're going to remind people constantly about these projects, and not just our hand picks, but everything on there that is quality, that has a shot at winning. The Motonui map, the Bionicle brickheads, the Toa and the Temple of Time, which so far is the closest at 4,624 supporters. Everything that can get to 10,000 should, or at the very least, come as close as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
No promises on when, but that is coming. And you guys can help in the short term. Like if you know people who haven't already voted, if you have places where you can spread these around, please do. Simultaneously with the ideas poll. The best shot we have for Bionicle is to quite literally overwhelm them with it until finally they cave and have to do something.
Yeah, and this seem I'd much prefer the way that we go about this than other communities do. A Star Wars set literally came into existence solely because Lego social media was inundated with spam requesting it. Granted, they came through. They bought that like crazy. It is constantly out of stock. We need to be like those people, but appropriately. These avenues. Let's keep on showing them new ideas projects. Let's keep on voting in these polls in massive, accurate numbers. And if we can finally get a set, we go out to those stores and we purchase that set because we want to see more.
Imagine a scenario, if you will. Just stick with me. We have like 10 ideas projects right now on ideas for Bionicle. We were able to get Sakota's project to 10,000 in, what was that? It was like under a month, right?
It was 3 weeks.
I forget exactly.
3 weeks.
3 weeks? Okay. So imagine a world, outlandish though it might be, where the Bionicle community rallies together equally for everyone, and all 10 of those ideas projects get 10,000 in the same review cycle.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a good idea. If anything, it might be a bad idea because they might cannibalize each other. But I'm just saying, what if that happened and Lego was confronted with an ideas review period that was like almost entirely or like half comprised of Bionicle? Imagine the kind of statement that would make. And that sounds outlandish, but if everyone was coordinated, that is actually very achievable for that to happen. Because all it would take is that same amount of people voting on the same things in that period of time. Not necessarily advocating for it. It's just a thought. We have the power to make a difference in constructive ways that Lego will actually be forced to see, unlike change.org petitions. And that's very much why I like the whole conceit about Lego Ideas. I like that it is a creative and constructive form of expression of our discontent and bitterness. Instead of being angry about it, like, oh, Lego hates us, we support these cool models and we get them in front of Lego's eyes. It's the only reason why I advocate for stuff like this, when in the past I've decried uprisings and Bionicle fan, let's all show Lego, blah, blah, blah. At least this is constructive.
Yeah. Yep.
Even if it fails and they don't make sets, it elevates these fan creators and it gives them a platform, so something good comes out of it. You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely. So we're definitely gonna start focusing on that. And I should stress, because somebody said, the Germinator in the YouTube chat was like, LJ's having flashbacks to the Hosrix alt accounts. Yes, I am, because that was miserable and it was a garbage thing to do. Don't make alt accounts. Vote for yourself. Don't like it's. We have the ability to detect alternate accounts. You think Lego doesn't? You think Lego doesn't, and then some? Lego
It's also
absolutely
thoroughly
does.
unnecessary.
Yeah, it is. It is. Just, yeah, we don't need alt accounts to prove that we're here.
There's more than enough of us as it
Yes.
is.
Yeah. It just, it's crazy. Our videos get enough views to support I don't know how many ideas projects. If those people, like,
Yeah.
if all the people that watched our initial video on Sakota's project voted when they watched it, his project would have gotten through within a few days, not 3
That's
weeks.
true.
So if you want it, show the effort.
Completely right.
Yeah.
Now, I got off in the weeds a little bit,
Lot
although this was very important. First of all, I just want to say thank you very much for the turnout on this podcast. We have 170 listeners.
That's
So
fantastic.
thank you for that. I'm glad you guys are checking it out. Please don't let this be a thing to where you just say, oh, listen to the TTV fun podcast. Hear what we say and spread the word in your circles, in your communities, in your friends groups, in your avenues, because that's the way we can cumulatively make these things heard. Both ideas and the poll. Let people know when the poll is starting, which I should probably mention that. The next poll starts on, I think, February 3rd is the date where it begins.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm wrong on that, correct me, but I think it was the 3rd.
Let me see.
I'm like 90% sure it was the 3rd.
Let me see. I'll have an answer in just a moment. As soon as it loads. Internet.
Sakota says it is.
Okay, I believe Sakota.
I believe in Sakota. So the discussion I kind of wanted to launch into, because as much as I can rally people together, I also, we have to be realistic as well. We're uniquely pragmatic. The angle that this could somehow usher in a new era for Bionicle, and that, just because it's winning the poll, it automatically means it's coming back to shelves because Lego must see how much people care. Please taper that. Let's move one step at a time. Like, Sakota's project got 10,000 in record time. Not record time, sorry, I keep saying that. Record time for the Bionicle community. They didn't care. That didn't make a difference to them. They said no to the project for whatever reasons they had. They don't really care, I imagine, that much that the name Bionicle and a picture of Tahu's canister got 18,000 votes in the first round.
A cruddy picture of Tahu's canister.
Like, it's not evidence of anything yet. Now, if it continues to do that well, and if it does win the poll, I mean, they're going to be forced to confront at least that much. But again, they're not obligated to release the results of this next poll. And in fact, they've said they're not going to do so. So we're not actually going to know whether Bionicle won or not until it's announced. And let's be honest, we're not going to know by how much. It's not going to be transparent. So we're not even going to know like anything. I'm not accusing that Lego would do this, but there's nothing saying that Lego couldn't just look at Bionicle winning and be like, oh, we don't want to make that set, and then they just don't make that set, and they say that something else won, That's within their power to do. Ultimately, the products that they create are based on them and their wishes and what they think is going to be profitable. So the people saying that, oh, we're going to get a G3 because of this, Yeah, no, we might not even get a regular set from this, let alone a
Mm-hmm.
G3. Let us pace ourselves, take it one step at a time, do our part, be diligent, be hopeful, sure, but don't be stupid. Don't get baited into things that aren't going to happen and then be disappointed when it doesn't come out. Uh, is it possible that if the set does get produced and it is sold well, maybe they might look into revitalizing Bionicle? Yes, but I think it also depends on what the set is. And this is a discussion that LJ and I have been having a lot behind the scenes. It varies based on the set that gets produced. You know, you say hypothetically the Great Spirit Robot is the set that is chosen. You know, you look at the one on Ideas right now. It's a 2,000 piece all gray giant mech. They're not going to look at that and the sales results for that and view that as evidence that Bionicle is going to sell well, because let's be honest, that's an irregular set. Nothing like that has ever been produced for Bionicle. It isn't representative of what Bionicle offers as a brand. And if they brought back Bionicle, it likely wouldn't have many other sets like that. Let's just be honest with ourselves. If the Great Spirit Robot gets picked, it's an anomaly. And I'm fine with that because I happen to think that is a good, like, I'd be fine with a Great Spirit Robot set for Ideas or as the 90th, because I think it's just a cool homage celebration of Bionicle. It's the one character, you know, that was really important that never got a set. I think it would be a good thing to have, but you can't use the Great Spirit Robot as a template to bring back Bionicle. So what other options do you have? You have minifigure sets, construction, or mixel jointed construction. I think the odds of them doing a commemorative set based on minifigures is pretty strong. Just because, I mean, it's minifigures. They could do the six Toa minifigures, and I think people would eat that up. I know you would, Elge.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I know
handedly.
you'd be down with minifigure Toa.
Listen, just give me any representation of a gold mirror and minifigure scale, and I'm there.
Yeah. But then, of course, you have the problem where is that really representative of Bionicle? No, because Bionicle isn't a system theme. And so its sales results could be skewed one way or the other, depending on how you're looking at it, based on that. Lego doesn't traditionally associate Bionicle with minifigures and system. So it would be a bit of a departure. Then you look at Construction, and let's be honest, if they release a 90th anniversary set, it's not going to be Construction. Construction is dead. The parts are not in circulation. So whatever 90th anniversary set they make, if they make one, it's not going to be Construction, which leaves Mixel joints, which is why, you know, we were kind of discussing how characters could be transplanted into that building style, looking at that Ideas project. I know you've had some controversial views on that, Elge. Do you want to
Nah,
maybe get into that?
not a whole heck of a lot.
We can save it.
I think we can save it personally because it would
There's a
make
lot of ways that people could be transplanted into Mixel joints, some of which are popular and some of which aren't. And I think we're going to make that the subject of either our next show or maybe a few shows down the line, depending on how the poll shakes out.
Mhm.
Because let's be honest, it's a polarizing subject. I know a lot of people don't like Mixel joints. I know a lot of people don't like what Lego's done with Mixel joints up till now. But it is currently what Construction is.
Yeah.
So if they were to make articulated figures, they'd probably be in that style somewhat.
Mhm.
None of these possibilities are really what the community unanimously would want from a G3. A full relaunch of Bionicle is a very different thing and must be brainstormed very differently than a 90th anniversary commemorative set would be. So you cannot jump from one into the other. This isn't a Minecraft situation where they made the micro scale build, saw how much it sold, and was like, okay, let's just make that but bigger.
Mhm.
It's not that simple. So people who are, it's just like with Faber, people who are taking this to heart and aren't being, cautious about it, you're just setting yourselves up for disappointment. And I would really encourage everyone to please have some restraint at least until we see the results of this second poll. Please. Don't focus on the future. Don't focus on G3 or Bionicle returning. Let's focus on getting Bionicle back on shelves in any capacity and then take it from there. We can figure out all that stuff later, but we can't figure anything out if we don't get there at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. No, exactly. Focus on. How can I put this in as nerdy a way as possible?
Do it.
Together with unity to achieve our duty and one day see our destiny.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'm going to release another video soon to kind of let people, soundbite and spread around once we get the next poll. But for now, just support things. Support things, spread word, let people know. That is the most important aspect here. So,
yep.
And, thank you very much, Mr. Domi890 in our Patreon chat for reminding me. Just as a reminder, almost a year has happened since Faber's 14B 2020 and nothing happened. Yeah, don't put all your eggs in that basket.
Dude, I don't want to turn this into a Faber bash-a-thon, but he's really he's backpacked on this.
Oh yeah, no, I know. We're not gonna talk about it. All I wanted to say was do not put all your eggs in that basket. That's it. If you support it, fine, perfectly all right. If you're excited to see what Faber's up to, that is A-okay. Don't worry about it. But if you're hoping that's going to lead to a return for Bionicle, do not put your eggs in that basket. That's it. That's all I have to say.
I agree. I see a lot of people championing for an art book, and it's directly based on our those hopes are based on the Creative Keepers interview. They expressed a lot of interest in doing like a making of the Bionicle movies, art book, because they have a lot of concept materials from the trilogy, and that would be awesome. But when it comes to Lego, they might not necessarily be down for that, so it's important to let them know that people want that to happen. So yes, by all means, spread the word about that Bionicle art book. They're down to do it. They have the cool art. It'd be wonderful. It'd be a great thing.
Yeah, no, I would love it. Real quick, we did get a super chat. We got one earlier. Unfortunately, I missed it, but we do have one from Gam, donated $10 with the message, to clarify, as I understand, if Bionicle wins, it doesn't mean it gets a set. The vote doesn't determine which set is chosen. It only determines the pool of themes LEGO will choose from. First of all, thank you so much for that. The support is sincerely appreciated. And there's a little bit of debate when it comes to this specific segment, because what Gam is referencing is a little ditty that they said in the actual first post. Let me go ahead and bring that up real fast. Closed, open. Boom, there we go. So they said this. We will run this fan vote for all 30 themes. We will launch a second fan vote of the top 3 themes from this fan vote, which will run until February 10th. One of these 3 themes will be what the 90th anniversary set will be based on, but we still want to know what the most popular of the final 3 is. So There is a little bit of debate as to what that means. Most people have taken that to mean LEGO will pick one of the 3, and that last little segment basically suggests it is not binding, which is why there is a lot of concern that, the top 3 will be voted, Bionicle will get the number 1, and then it goes to, space, or something like that.
And it's difficult to really give an opinion on, because ultimately it comes down to your own faith and your own view of the Lego company. and your own approach to all this, whether it's, optimistic or pessimistic.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should proceed as if it is all in good faith and that they will make Bionicle if it wins, because that's how we get the most turnout and that's how we galvanize people. You have to try. You know what I mean? If you assume it's not going to happen and you just don't try, well, then it won't happen. But there is a approach, and I will not say it's crazy because I've certainly had the approach before, and it's the approach that they're not going to make Bionicle no matter what. Its inclusion here is just lip service to make people shut up and to give the veneer of, the veneer of that they care and that they actually respect the Bionicle community, but that in reality it's never going to get made, and they've already voted for they're already going to make space.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible. It is certainly possible based on past trends and history. I will not dispute that. I mean, $1.99 Productions says it in the YouTube chat. It's the in case of Bionicle clause.
Yeah.
The reason that's in there. It's possible, but I'm not gonna get too hung up on that at this stage because honestly, the fact of the matter is, and I hate to say it, we're never gonna know. If they decide to not make Bionicle, even though Bionicle wins, we're never gonna know the difference between that or if Bionicle got second place and they just decided to make the first place winner win. You know what I mean? We're never going to know for sure because they're never going to tell us.
Mm-hmm.
So we can speculate as to their worst intentions or we can hope for the best intentions. And in this case, I'm opting to hold to the possibility that everything will work out on the up and up, and that if Bionicle wins, they will make a set based off of it. And I think we should galvanize the community with that goal in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Real quick, Tarker's Channel of Random Things super chat donated SEK50, which equates to about $6. So thank you so very much. With hashtag 14 Bob interview 2021.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Listen, I would love to interview Faber, but I don't think he's
No. Bob interview Thompson.
Is that the new trend?
He is like
14.
hashtag 14 Bob interview 2021.
I see.
Yeah.
I get it. Yes. Let us go ahead and get that going. Bob Thompson, the legend.
Oh boy, that would be a day. That would be a day. All right.
Yep.
Mesa, let's take a few questions and let's go ahead and wrap up.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Cool.
All right. Questions about this or anything else? Go ahead and hit them with us. Hit us with them rather on YouTube and Discord, and we will take a few before we close.
Oh, man.
This is exactly this perspective from Lightning BW in the YouTube chat. If this gets canceled, I think this will be a surefire sign that Lego really doesn't care for Bionicle and that numbers don't win, only the money matters. That's certainly a perspective. It's just, it sucks. We're never going to know one way or the other.
Yeah.
But all right. First one. Boydo. If Bionicle returns for the anniversary set, do you think Greg would consider at least finishing the current serials?
I think Greg would consider it, but I think that if a Bionicle set were to be made, and that if it were to return, it would be more of a discouragement and a detriment to those chances. Because the reason Greg ended up not doing them prior is because G2 came back, and that becomes a bit of a marketing conflict.
Yeah. And additionally, I think it might be a little bit different if it is a commemorative set, like if there really is a Great Spirit robot, for instance, something that's intrinsically linked to G1. I think that might make it a little bit more palatable. But I don't think that necessarily that's his only reason. I mean, he said before he was a little bit demotivated by a lot of the negativity in the community. And he also feels, whether it's right or wrong, that he doesn't really have anyone at Lego who can approve or sanction anything he does to post up online. Whether that's true or not, I mean, he knows better than we do. I'm pretty sure someone would take a look at it and just give it the go ahead, but he doesn't feel like there's anybody like that. And he's not just going to post what equates to, fan fiction without Lego approval. So I don't really think that a product's existence would change that necessarily. But it might. Who knows? It's ultimately up to him, as with everything to do with this.
Yeah, it's worth conversing about, but I would at least like to talk with him about it more.
For sure.
I think there's a road forward on that. That I don't think all avenues have fully been. Gosh dang it! Fully been expressed or explored. Stop sliding!
What's sliding?
It's a Lego set. It's
Nice.
a Red Sun's Inferno truck or whatnot. I have it placed precariously around on the ground, and it slid off of a box like a jerk.
Magic Ninja 6195 says, "What would you say to those that argue that Star Wars saved Lego and not Bionicle?"
It helped.
Both did.
Yeah, I mean, it had an impact. If it wasn't for Lego Star Wars, we wouldn't have had a Bionicle to begin with. And
one does not undo the other.
Yeah. Like, it certainly had an impact of its own. But at the end of the day, it also wasn't, what was it, 100% of its revenue and something of its... Oh, gosh, where's the book? I need to find the scriptures. Yeah. Continue, I'll find this.
Okay.
There it is.
The next one from Sakota. What do you think of the argument I've seen people throw around that we didn't buy G2 and wouldn't buy this? Well, it's a really dumb argument because whatever set this would be wouldn't be like the G2 sets because those parts are not in circulation.
There we go.
If it was a Construction CCBS set, I would say that might hold some merit, but we know it wouldn't be, so it's an entirely different beast. What's up, Elge?
I found the numbers. Keep in mind, Star Wars was very important. In 2001, its inaugural year, Bionicle's sales exceeded $160 million, and the Toy Industry Association declared it the year's most innovative toy. In 2003, the year the rest of LEGO came crashing down, Bionicle's soaring sales accounted for approximately 25% of the company's total revenue and more than 100% of its profit. So, don't get me wrong.
There you go.
Star Wars is very important. Those are the kind of numbers Bionicle swung around. So.
True.
There you go.
Dude Man on YouTube says, will there be a Knack and Jay on Galador, the greatest LEGO theme of all time?
No.
I've never seen Galador.
Oh, you're right. You haven't.
Toby Echoes says, if you were to have a dream set for Bionicle, what would it be?
Definitely minifigure me in a small system recording booth. And on the screen in front of me is Toa Liwa.
My God.
Sorry, Lego set? I mean, still that, but also, yeah, no, that's the other thing we need to be telling Lego, along with that we want another Lego set, or Bionicle set. We also want the right Liwa.
Oh my goodness.
Me.
I think Journey to One Lee was fine.
Okay, I mean, yeah, for what he was, but listen! I've worked for this vessel. Anyway, continue.
For me, Toby, it would be Great Spirit Robot. I feel like that's the one set I always wanted. It's the one set I always wanted to close out G1. It's the one set I wanted as a commemoration. Never got it. Still want it.
Yeah, I'm with him on that one. But also Kini Nui with the System Tomata. That would be great.
I agree.
So.
Noah Sarunik, do you think they will ever bring back Rahi-style sets?
No.
technically Rahi style sets never really went away. They have a lot of large animal builds in Lego, just not primarily Technic.
Yeah.
Like if Bionicle ever returned as a minifigure play theme, I would hope that we would still have Rahi. It's very easy to do cool animal builds, especially with mixel joints now, to get articulation on a smaller scale. But I don't ever think we would see the gigantic Technic function based, animals again. No, I think it's definitely moved on from that.
Yep.
Um, I think it's the Lane 531 or the EN 531. Apologies. Have you guys mucked about with the Ninjago mechs much? They really remind me of Exoforce and are the closest thing to modern day Lego action figures, even if they're more system based. El, do you have Zane's Titan mech? How is it?
It's not built yet, still, but it's
My
phenomenal.
goodness, LJ.
Listen, I've been a little busy. But yes, it
Like,
is phenomenal. The Ninjago mechs are just nothing but fine work. So,
all right.
yeah, no, I highly recommend them.
Some bio fan. Oh wait, I just lost it. There's so many questions. People are flooding in. Thank you, by the way. Great engagement. Some bio fan asked if Bionicle won, what would you like the set to be? We've kind of already gone over that. I want Great Spirit Robot. LJ, I think you just want Toa minifigures.
Basically, that's really what I'm after. Ideally, I think that we should get Toamata minifigures, and I think for simplicity's sake, make all of their masks gold, just because I don't think Lego is going to print 6 different colors.
Yeah.
So,
Emiliano Cruz. If they do Bionicle, would they do something more related to G1, G2, or something completely different? Well, I assume you're talking about if they do Bionicle for the 90th anniversary poll, to which I would say I would certainly hope they would do something from G1. I don't exactly think people want Lord of Skull Spiders 2 as the 90th anniversary set. Like there isn't really anything from G2 to really draw off of, especially not for a commemoration. So I definitely think if it were to be based on anything, it would be G1. This is a good one from Gam. What's the best way to get involved in the broader Bionicle community when you have no friends who are into it?
don't.
Okay, let's not get carried away.
Sorry, wait. Oh. No, okay, sorry. That was a knee-jerk reaction. I've thought about it a little bit more. I apologize. Don't.
My God, LJ.
Don't do it.
Gam, I think my advice to you and kind of what LJ's getting at, it can be a very toxic place. We mentioned a little bit earlier, in response to a lot of the AFOLs criticizing it for being toxic in this thing. I don't really think we're toxic to other people, but we're very bad to each other. There's a lot of groups in the Bionicle community that are very, very just over the top vitriolic to each other. Like the Instagram community hates the YouTube community, and the freaking YouTube community is looked down on by the Reddit community. But then the Facebook community hates the Reddit community, and don't even get me started on the 4chan community. Like everyone has a beef with someone, it feels like, all the time. And that's not to make over the top generalizations and say that everyone necessarily feels that way, but there is a large vocal, subset of people who generally make things undesirable. My advice to you, if you're looking to get into it, don't be discouraged from your love of Bionicle by bad attitudes, because you're going to find a lot of bad attitudes. And if you're serious about engaging in the community, don't let it get to you too bad. There are good people out there. There are people who are doing constructive, positive things. There are people who just like to talk about the theme and just have fun. I would try to congregate in those circles and focus on why you got into Bionicle in the first place. Focus on the things you like about it and let your work that you do speak to that. Don't get too mired in community politics.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of those. And I think that's a lot of what's put LJ off to very understandable degrees.
Also, we are of course biased. We do feel confidently in the TTV message boards. It's just a lot to manage for the two of us. Our
Yeah,
moderator staff needs to be grown a little bit. So
which we plan to.
yeah.
But if you do want a place to talk about Bionicle, the TTV message boards are good. You know, a place that's a little bit more centralized rather than, you know, massive sprawling social media sites might be a good place to start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I mean, the like I say, don't. And Messo's right. I've not had the best time as the last few months, but the boards are definitely a good place to start. And yeah, I'm biased, but I do mean it every time I say, if you're 13 years or older and you follow the rules, you will have a good time.
Yeah, most definitely. Um, Jacob Postalweight. Dream scenario. They say they'll bring it back and make 6 characters that didn't get a set. Who makes the list?
All of the Tomata. I'm not going to
That
run
didn't
into a
get a set.
stars issue again. Just make it the Tomata.
No, but we need characters who didn't get a set. We need Kabrua.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
And Hurd.
Didn't get a
I mean,
set.
listen, they're never gonna do what you're suggesting. I know it's a dream scenario. I don't want to crush your dream. I know you're just being, you know, creative by asking that question. They're never gonna do that. Like, yeah, sure. For me, I would love to see some of the story serial characters who didn't get a set made into a set. I'd love to see that. Great Spirit Robot, one of the great beings, you know, Marindar, gold skinned being, Anona, etc. I'd love representations of those characters. You know, Tuyet, that'd be a lot of fun. That's never gonna happen. Lego's never going to acknowledge those characters because they're obscure and they were, you know, Greg creations in a post-set world. But if you want my answer, yeah, of course it'd be cool as a fan to see those get sets for sure. I would much rather those not be the characters they do if Bionicle is ever back on shelf. I'd rather it be something that has more broad appeal as a way to like kickstart more in the future.
Yep. No, pretty much. Let's see. There's a question here I really briefly wanted to touch upon. Okay. Levok182 asked, would you guys be willing to collaborate with other YouTubers like Billiam to bring attention to the voting? Thanks for all the hard work. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be fine. I mean, Obo Shoes has been phenomenal. He's great. I basically consider him a Bionicle YouTuber as well at this point. He's made just a slew of fun, fantastic Bionicle videos. Billiam, I don't think he cares about the community side of things. He's just a Bionicle fan in the sense that he enjoyed the products. And I don't think the community is really his forte. So would I love to work with him on this kind of a thing? Certainly. I also don't really think it's a priority for him. I also don't really know how to get in contact with him. So, would it be great? Certainly. Will it happen? Probably not.
We don't really collaborate too much with people as it stands. We kind of just do our own thing.
That too.
And we bring people on for podcasts. This is an important issue. If people want to collaborate, we are willing. It's just a matter of figuring out how to do it.
I'll reach out to Obo.
Yeah, we should definitely do it with the people we can, for sure. I'll do whatever, you know. At the end of the day, the important thing we need to take from all this is not to be like, you know, vitriolic to other communities. It's not to start fights. It's to do the best job we can do. So no matter what happens, we have no regrets and we can look back on it and be like, yeah, the Bionicle community, we did good. We came together when it counted, and that's all we can ever really do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Google account, funny name, asks, will Bionicle be sold to another toy company?
Probably not.
No.
Lego, every time you see Lego's trademark spiel at the bottom of a post, it always mentions Bionicle when they're rattling off all of the different IPs they own. Like, every time we receive on the Lego Ambassador Network, like a press release, at the very bottom, I'm trying to bring the latest one up. Yeah, at the very bottom, it states... Oh, gosh dang it. I lost it. There we go. Lego, the Lego logo, the minifigure Duplo, Bionicle, Legends of Chima, Dimensions, the Friends logo, the minifigures logo, Mindstorms, Mixels, Ninjago, and Nexonites are trademarks of the Lego Group. Copyright 2020, the Lego Group. So it's definitely something that even if they don't do anything with, they are keen on retaining. So no, I don't think it's going to be sold anywhere else.
The thing that people need to understand about the concept of selling the rights, and it's something that people have talked about endlessly with Faber. Could Faber get the rights? The reason why Lego's never going to sell the rights is plain and simple. What does protecting their trademark mean? It means multiple things, but in the context of this discussion, Lego has a very core set of like brand values and things that they do, and they ensure that their properties live up to those, especially with story themes. So, what if hypothetically they sell the rights to Lego Bionicle, and then, I don't know, they sell it to like a video game company, hypothetically? Like, make a Bionicle game. You guys can make a Bionicle game? Sure. So, they sell the rights to Bionicle, and they make a game, and it's rated mature, and it's super violent, and it has like blood and gore, just Bionicle robots going around killing everyone, like swear words, like foul language, just killing everything. Bionicle characters. And they could do that because they would own the rights. Would the general public not still associate Bionicle with Lego?
Mm-hmm.
Of course they would, because it was a Lego property. It's a famous Lego property. Lego's not going to want to run the risk of that happening. And that's a very gratuitous, obvious, extreme example. But there's a million shades of gray inherent in that. There's so many things that other companies could do to Bionicle that Lego might not want to reflect back on them indirectly. And the only way to protect that is to keep it in-house and keep their trademark and keep their protection. That's why it's never going to happen. One of many reasons. Royal Wyvern 09. This one's interesting. Whatever Lego does for this vote, do you think there will be any winning with the general Bionicle community?
What do you mean?
So what essentially he's asking is, so whatever Lego does, will people ever really be happy? And I get where he's coming from, because you and I were just talking about this the other day. The answer is unfortunately no.
No.
Because the only scenario that would make everyone happy is a return to G1. It is if they announced that the 90th anniversary set was going to be Construction. It was going to be a giant Construction mock using G1 pieces that is fully compatible with G1 and ushers in Bionicle G3, also made using G1 pieces, continuing the story from Greg's story serials. And even then, as Swirt says in the chat, even that won't make everybody happy, because there's people who hate G1 parts. There's people who don't like Greg's story serials, and there's people who just want the theme to stay dead. But that would have the best chance, just straight up pandering to old school fans. But would that sell? Would that actually be popular? And would they have the parts? The answer is no. That's not what it would be. So whatever it's going to be, if it gets made, will be a compromise of some sort. It will either be a system mech with articulation, like Modern Robot. It will either be brick-built system playset with minifigures, or it will be mixel-jointed construction sets. And every one of those will get picked apart by someone. Oh, the Modern Robot's too big. It's all gray. It's too expensive. Bionicle sets were like $15. I don't want to pay $200 for a Modern Robot. Ew, minifigures. System Bionicle's actually the devil. And if you like System Bionicle, you're not a real Bionicle fan, because we're mockists and we like the pieces. that whole refrain.
Yeah.
Or with mixel joints, oh, it's just worse construction. Like everyone will find a reason to complain about everything.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing on all Marxists. I know you like pieces, but there's a very vocal group of people that's like, oh, if you remotely believe in System Bionicle, you're a devil because we need our pieces for mocking. They're who I'm targeting.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm just here. It's like, is Bionicle on the box? Cool. I'm down.
I will literally buy whatever they make.
Yeah. This is the one thing. This is the one area where I have brand loyalty, which makes no sense, because this is one of those instances where I shouldn't. Given that
It's
it's
defined your
Bionicle.
life.
Okay, well, okay, fair enough. Actually, correction. That makes a lot of sense. That's true.
Yeah.
Mm.
If you were with anything, it would make sense with this.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. But yeah. I think.
Does that mean we shouldn't try? No. Like, someone's gonna be upset, but that doesn't mean nothing should happen. You know.
It's like with the canon contests. It's like, yeah, people are going to be upset about it. They're going to be upset no matter what. You do them, upset. You don't, upset. You do them well, still upset. It doesn't matter. It's not a good enough excuse to not try.
Agreed. And speaking of, next question from Eric Gibson. What's the difference between LEGO canonizing Greg's fan fiction, relating to something I earlier said, and the recent contests to fill out some wiki pages?
Yeah, when you said that earlier, Meso, I kind of had the same reaction. It's like, wait, huh?
So here's the difference fundamentally, because Greg said this on your show. He was like, I'm not going to release something without LEGO's approval. So that's what I'm referencing. Here's the distinction. One is new story material. Okay? The canon contests are not new story material. Nothing is being added to Bionicle lore or story with the contest's inclusion. And this is something we've had to clarify for people many times before. We're not canonizing new mask powers. We're not canonizing new backstory for these characters or story serials. The Marindar contest, if it ever happens, isn't going to come bundled with like a 10-page fan story explaining what Marindar is doing. These are visual representations. Greg's role, in essence, and the only thing he has to do is give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And that is why I think the idea appealed to him to start with, and why he said he would do it if there was enough interest, is because it's very, very, very low effort on his part to do. We do all the heavy lifting, and Greg gives it a yay or a nay, because he's written for these characters already. These characters exist. I'm sure he had at least kind of like a rough idea in his mind while he was writing them of what they looked like. So he's just like, okay, is this wildly outside the realm of what these characters would look like? No? Cool. They're good. You know, remember, Greg didn't care a single iota about whether there were even Hero Factory parts included in these mocks. His response was, it shouldn't stifle creativity. We care about these things a lot more than Greg does. But you flip that into creating new story content. Well, now all of a sudden, he needs a place to put it. You know, we offered up the TTV message boards as a possible avenue, but I mean, for years, he didn't have an outlet. BionicleStory.com was over. And he also lacks a direct person to go to and like approve what he is releasing, because what it basically comes down to is the official correspondence from a LEGO employee about a theme, which is a little bit different than a yay or a nay for an image on a wiki page. This is new content. This is actively new developed story for a theme that's been gone for a decade. So I don't think he's as eager about that prospect because he doesn't have a direct point of contact we can go to about that. You know, he doesn't think he said it on your show, he doesn't think anyone will give the go ahead. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think some person would. But those are his concerns.
Okay. So to summarize, Greg is still the arbiter of Bionicle canon. Bionicle story content is still his domain, and he is really the only one that signs off on it. because he is the only member of the Lego story team actively engaging with the Bionicle community and making decisions.
Correct.
Also, he still works for Lego. He is their editorial director. He has canon say. But he also needs permission from Lego to host new story content.
Very good summary.
There we go.
It's the difference between answering a question or writing a story. One's clarification and one's new content.
Yeah. So it's not.
But I
a matter,
understand the
it's-
confusion.
Yeah, it's not a matter of Lego saying, "No, you can't add that to the canon." It's a matter of saying you can't post new stuff.
Essentially, yeah.
So, okay.
Great engagement in the YouTube chat today, guys. Thank you for that. We are moving towards the end, so we're only going to ask a few more, but I'm trying to get everybody heard.
2 more. Now let's go ahead and wrap up.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, man.
Is there any precedence from Boydo? Is there any precedence for recreating a theme in a different fashion than it was originally done in? It's a very good question.
Run that by me one more time.
Is there any precedence for recreating a theme in a different fashion than that which it was initially done in? AKA minifigure Bionicle being, replacing quote unquote Construction Bionicle. Has there ever been another incident like that to look to as precedent? And I don't really think so. Sakota brings 2 examples, namely System Bionicle from 2005 and 2007, Hero Factory Invasion from Below, and then Ozkabot says Chima Ultra builds. And those are all very good points of reference. I think the thing that separates that from what Boydo's asking is that all of those were done while the theme was being run concurrently. Ditto with Star Wars Construction. So they were companion pieces. Hero Factory Invasion from Below was the biggest incident where it straight up changed the template for the building by introducing the minifigures, which made all the hero sets be mechs. But those were still released alongside the beasts, which wouldn't have looked out of place in any wave of Hero Factory as regular villains. I can't really think of an instance as drastic as what is being proposed for Bionicle, where there's actually a significant lapse in production, and then it returns in a completely different form. If that did happen, I think it would be relatively unique to this case. Which I can understand might make Lego want to be a bit trepidatious about it, because it is a big shift.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't necessarily mean it would be a bad one.
Yeah. I got nothing. I can't think of anything. Real quick.
I don't know.
It's kind of funny. I just realized something. The Mixel Jointed Ideas project that we showcased earlier,
Yeah.
was done by a fellow named Toe of Plastic, and I think he is a member on our message boards. There we go. There he is. And I think... All right, cool. Yes. So Toe of Plastic, who made that excellent Ideas project with the Mixel joints, also made our first entry into the Hellrix Cannon contest, and that was my favorite entry the entire time. That was
really?
That was the one I was really rooting for. That's really
awesome.
cool. All right, awesome. And now I'm doubly supportive of it. Sorry.
Fun stuff.
That's good. Okay.
So this question from Nestor Powers, very brief, says, is CCBS viable for the anniversary challenge? Or, being realistic, is it dead? It's dead, Jim.
It's gone.
We haven't had any official confirmation of that, but just look at the sets. There has not been a CCBS piece used, with the exception of Lost Legs and the little shoulder add-on for the Star Wars Construction set that they had. used, to my knowledge, in a good few years. And I'm sure people can point to that and be like, oh, they used a socket here or like a ball joint there, but you know what I mean. The limbs, the shells, the bulk of the system, it's all done. Sakota points out friction joints. So there you go. At least those are still around. But the baseline for the system is not in circulation anymore. And the more the years go on, I mean, we don't really know fully what goes on in Lego corporate when it comes to that, but I think it's reasonably safe to say the molds are no longer in existence. So yes, to answer your question, if this does get through, it will be system in new capacity, in some capacity. Yes.
Yep.
And then, since that was so brief, I'm asking one more. The last question.
Last one.
From Echang Cosplay asks, do you think that a bigger gap between G1 and G2 would have allowed more of the older fans to come back to Lego now that they would have been adult fans? What do you think, Elge?
I'm not sure. I don't totally know because I don't. So here's the thing. Bionicle, oddly enough, has a really, really high retention rate. It really keeps people. You know, Bionicle fans got massively engaged with Bionicle. And there are two different avenues that once it ended, those people went down. The one is that they kind of just they were done with it because Bionicle was over and they were like, all right, we're out. Or they shifted to other Lego themes, but I don't really think that those ones are like, all right, I'm out, ever really returned. And if they did, it was just because something else Lego caught their interest. I don't really think any greater amount of time would really have an effect on that. It seems to me more of a personal deal, you know?
Yeah. It's an interesting thing to wonder about, though, because there was that very brief time where Bionicle became, like, meme famous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that it was fleeting. It didn't really last. But, like, G2 did kind of miss the boat on that, releasing only, like, 5 years after the theme was gone. I do wonder if maybe there would have been an effect if it had waited a full decade to kind of allow that generational bridge where like everything old is new again.
Yeah, it could. Nah, that's possible.
But we're never gonna know for sure. Like there's no metrics to base that off of.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So good question. That's it. It's basically that. All right.
Okay.
You tired, Elge?
Oh yeah.
You tired?
You tired? Yes. I think it is time. This was a very good episode to really kind of summarize things. Spread word. Spread word of the ideas projects. Spread word of the vote. Be polite. Be cordial. Be respectful. That's it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Alrighty. Well, thank you very much for listening, and stay tuned. We are going to have more videos. Like I said, LJ is going to have a news video about the poll when the poll goes up.
Get ready for seeing LJ in a way you never have before.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to do some more. If we can collaborate with Obo Shoes, or if we can do more videos about this, we're going to try to drum up as much traffic as possible to the point of being obnoxious when this poll is out. And you guys should do the same. Just don't hate on people.
Yeah.
You know, spread the word. Yes. And that being said, that's basically it.
All right.
LJ, you want to do one more plug bout?
Absolutely. Thank you all so very much for watching this episode of Knack and Jay today. We do highly recommend everyone go and check the channel out. We released a new video earlier. In fact, 2 of them. The first one being TTV Interviews Creative Capers, the people behind the Bionicle movie trilogy. We interviewed the directors and the producer. They are phenomenal people. One of the best interviews we've ever done. Highly recommend checking it out. Additionally, Envy released another Invictus analysis, this time for the Baraki teaser game. The video is unbelievably hilarious. You should I highly recommend you go check that out. So, once again, thank you all so very much. Restart. Thank you all so very much for watching. This has been another episode of Knack and Jay. If you're interested in joining in the conversation, head on over to the TTV message boards at board.ttvchannel.com. Additionally, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/TTVchannel. Lowest $1 a month. You can join our Patreon Discord server, as well as our Minecraft server on the islands of Motunui and Voyanui with more to come. And finally, head on over to Twitter at the TTV channel, at Mesonak, at Eljay Johnson, at the Eljay Johnson, JOHNSEN.
LJ over here spoiling Mange's video like
It's public.
it's not public.
We're getting
tomorrow at
comments
2
on
p.m.
it. We're getting comments on it.
Welp. I think it's the premiere.
Oh.
But anyway, thank you guys.
It is funny. Check it
It is
out.
funny. Check it out when it premieres. And yeah, thank you guys very much. I will see you all next time whenever we do another one. You know, who knows? And yeah, thank you very much. With that being said, I'm Meso.
I'm LJ.
And streaming to you from a golden beach, this was Knack and Jay.